Lord, we thank you for your Holy Spirit, Lord, that keeps us. Lord, we thank you for your word which leads us and guides us, God. Lord, we thank you for your hand touch, Lord. Lord, we thank you for touching our minds. We thank you for touching our hearts. We thank you for calling us out of darkness. God, we pray on today, somebody will be encouraged. Somebody's heart will be touched. Somebody's mind will be touched. Somebody will be drawn closer to you, God. Somebody will come to you in the pardon of their sins on today, God. Somebody will stop running from you on today, God, and running towards you, God, towards your open arms, Lord. Hallelujah. Glory. Thank you. Thank you. Lord, we believe that yokes will be broken on today. The captive will be set free on today, God. Hallelujah. By your spirit and by your might. Hallelujah. Glory. Look upon each and every person here today, God. Look upon their families. Bless them. God, you called us to be a blessing, Lord. And you said we are blessed, Lord. And we just receive that in Jesus' name. Lord, we pray, Lord, that you anoint my lips, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Lord, we pray, Lord, that again, that somebody's heart will be touched in the name of Jesus. Lives need to be changed, God, and you're the one to do it. Woo. Glory to your name. Thank you. Hallelujah. These things we pray in your most mighty name. In Jesus' name, thank God. Amen. Hallelujah. Woo. Bless your name, God. Bless your name. Oh, giving honor to that great God, that mighty God, that all-knowing God, that all-powerful God. I thank the Lord for saving me and sanctifying me and calling me out of darkness for such a time as this. God knows what he's doing. Hallelujah. I thank the Lord because he snatched me out of death's grip, the Satan's grip. I may have thought I knew what I was doing, but I had no idea until God showed up on the scene. Oh, Lord, I just thank him. I thank him. I thank him. Glory, glory, glory. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Giving honor to our pastor, our anointed man of God, administrative assistant, superintendent, pastor, husband, mentor, friend. I thank God for you. Such an encourager. Thank God for him. And First Lady, anointed woman of God. Hallelujah. Teacher, songbird, encourager. Like a sister to me and funny. First Lady is funny. All good, all good, all good. Woo. And giving honor to my bride, my good thing. He that findeth the wife findeth the good thing. And I obtain the favor of the Lord. 27 years, I thank God for you, honey. Ooh, man, I'm telling you, if you got a good wife, man, I'm telling you, you go so far with the help of the Lord. Ooh, I'm telling you, she encourages me. I thank the Lord. Oh, man, my strength. Ooh, when we're going through, she's right there with me. I thank the Lord for you, honey. Thank the Lord for our children, Soraya, Deidre, Salvador. Is my grandson here? All right, well, that's all right. That's all right. Thank the Lord for him. Thank the Lord for him. All right, we're going to go swiftly to the Word. Let's turn to John, the 5th chapter, starting with the first verse. So we're going to read verses 1 through 9, and then we're going to drop down to verse 14. Thank God for the elders here, the quorum of elders. God bless you, great encouragers. To these mothers, to the deacons, to all the saints and friends, thank God for you. Amen. John, 5th chapter, verse 1 through 9, and then drop down to verse 14. When you have it, please say amen. Amen. And as is our custom here in Greater All Nation, please stand for the reading of the Word. I will be reading. You're welcome to read along with me out loud if you like. And it reads, After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool, and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had.
All right.
And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. Jesus saith unto him, Rise, take up thy bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath.
Yes.
Verse 14. Afterward Jesus findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest the worst thing come unto thee. May the Lord add a blessing to hearing, reading, and doing of his most holy word. And as a topic, I like to present to you, Wilt thou be made whole? Wilt thou be made whole? So here our story picks up, verse 1. After this, after what? After Jesus, in the 4th chapter of John, witnessed unto the woman at the well. He witnessed unto the Samaritans. The Galileans received him, and he healed a nobleman's son. So after this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, the Bible doesn't say what feast this is. There's, I understand, feast of obligations, where the males were told to come during these feasts. I think there was like 3 of them, and the males in the radius of 25 miles around the area would come. It's like the Passover, and the Feast of Tabernacles, and the Feast of Weeks, and so there was going to be a great gathering of people. So here we see Jesus being faithful as he is, and going to this feast. So if Jesus is even faithful when he goes and worships God, what's that say about us? How faithful do we need to be? And Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda. Bethesda, or house of grace, having 5 porches. And so the way I understand it, this sheep market or this sheep gate houses sheep that need to be sacrificed during the feast. And there's a pool here where the sheep can get watered, and on the pool there's porches. And in verse 3 it says, in these lay a great multitude, and this word is impotent, not impotent. You know how we say, oh man, you're looking impotent today. No, it's not impotent. The word's actually important. You know how we are. It's impotent.
All right.
And these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water.
Yes.
And so, when you think about it, Bethesda, also known as House of Grace, and I start thinking of the church.
All right.
The House of Grace. And in these lay a great multitude of impotent folk. Now, y'all important folk. I want y'all to know that y'all important. Y'all, I ain't calling nobody impotent. But if you just get into the shoes of these people and think about this. Impotent folk. Impotent meaning sick.
Right.
No strength. No power. Weak. Amen. And that's the physical condition. But you think about being emotionally sick.
All right.
Having secrets that you can't tell anybody, things you may have done or have been done to you, and it's eating you up on the inside, and that can make you emotionally sick. And you know what? Here's the thing. It says there lay a great multitude of impotent folk. So when we see verse 3, we know that the writer John is looking at the porches and looking at this people. But don't you know you could be looking at somebody suited up? Hair, nail, toes, however, all nice car, nice job, and could be impotent, emotionally sick.
My God.
Ain't got nothing. Talking about open to your broken. Is that it? You know, sometimes we're going through things and we feel like we can't tell nobody. And I ain't saying you should tell everybody what you're going through. But I'm telling you, the enemy will get you in a place where you all alone and you think it's just me going through. And you know what? It will make you emotionally sick. It will make you impotent. Folk are blind. Blind to the word of God. Blind to his ways. Want the word to match. Oh, here you go. Want to walk by my feelings instead of walk by faith. Blind. Read the word, and I want to change the word to match what I'm feeling that day. Just blind. Halt. Crippled. Crippled by your past. Can't stand. Can't go forward. Man, and you just crippled. And sometimes people don't even know. You look right, got a smile on your face. Hey, how you doing? Bless. And you're going through, you crippled. You ain't going forward in your life. Withered, which means dried up. Oh God, relationships drying up. Because you're going through and you just don't have the energy and you just don't have the fortitude to keep investing in the relationship. Your integrity drying up. You don't do the things you used to do. You don't keep your word like you used to. Oh God, help us. Your passion for Christ drying up. Not as excited about God. Not as excited about serving the Lord like you used to. Because you're going through. You're impotent. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. Now, I don't know about this. I wasn't there. But the scripture says an angel, during a certain season of time, he troubled the water. Now, if you read certain commentaries, they'll say, well, that's probably some type of psychological healing. I don't know. Scripture says an angel went down in a certain season into the pool. So I'm just going to receive that as it is. But one thing I do know, if we're not careful, we will tag on or tag along and hold on to the traditions of man. To the traditions of man. We will run here, we will run there, we will order holy water, we will order a holy handkerchief, thinking that's where our healing is. Wilt thou be made whole? Verse 5, and a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. Now that's a long time. That's a long time. Now we don't know if he was on the porch for 38 years or he came back and forth every day. We don't know. But his infirmity was 38 years.
38 years.
And if we're not careful, our infirmity, our impotency, our haltness, our blindness, whatever sin, whatever weight, whatever we have that I hold on to and I don't repent of, or I don't ask somebody to help share my burden, or if I just hide and push down and try to do it in my own strength and say, you know what, I can kick this, I can lift this, I got this, I know I can do it. If I'm not careful, it'll go one day, then 1 month, then 1 year, then 5 years, and then 10 years. And you know what? And it's eating me up on the inside. And then again, something start. Then my face will start cracking. You see, I may still look good, but then something will start happening in my home. And then my wife will be like, what's wrong? Something's wrong with you. Ain't not good. And you know what? And men, we gotta be so careful. We gotta be so careful because our society tells us we gotta be strong. We can't cry. We can't show weakness. No, you know, we don't want to tell anybody anything was what I'm going through. I ain't gonna tell you nothing. Don't you know I want to be made whole? And sometimes you gotta be able to share with somebody. These are your fellow. You know, God places people in our lives that can help share our burdens And as men, we gotta be so careful. Now, women, y'all may go through the same thing, but I know women like to socialize now.
Oh, yeah.
Women will get together, and the men have to drop a hat, they'll go out to lunch, they'll talk on the phone, they'll go on a shopping trip to Godfrey, but you know, it's all good. In the name of the Lord, in the name of the Lord. But man, we get together too now. We get together too. Man went on a trip yesterday. We used to go to the football games. But you know, sometimes, and that fellowship is good, but you know, sometimes you gotta, hey, man, can I talk to you? I got something I'm going through.
Yeah.
And you know that person. And God will put people in your life that will pray with you and pray with you through this thing. They won't sign off on it. They won't sign off on it, but they'll encourage you in the Lord.
All right. Yeah.
And if we're not careful, we'll be committed to the comfort of that lifestyle, that crippledness, where we can't go forward and we get committed to the comfort and the complacency. And we just, how you doing? Well, I'm all right. I'm just doing all right. You blessed. What you talking? I'm all right. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And can't nobody get down in there because you got this big defense and you got it buried so deep down in there. Sometimes we don't even know what's going on with this. But it takes the Spirit of God.
Spirit of God.
When Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he saith unto him, wilt thou be made whole?
Yeah.
Do you want to be made well? And one thing I know, any encounter with Jesus is going to show up through grace.
All right.
God's grace. To be here today, for you to be here today, God's divine providence and his grace allowed us to see this day.
That's right.
Allowed us to be here this time. Allowed us to take us through whatever we might be going through just so we can be made whole on the particular day we need to be made whole on.
Amen.
And this also shows not just his grace, but his compassion. Wilt thou be made whole? There is nothing hid from God.
All right.
We can hide it, we can dress it up, but God sees all.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Hebrews 4:13. Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do. We're naked and we're open. We got to be naked and not ashamed before God because he sees it all. He sees it all. He knows. He knows. The impotent man answered him. Now, it doesn't say it, but when Jesus asked this question, the man got to be thinking, what? What do you mean? Do I want to be? I'm 38 years. Well, yeah, that's why I'm here. My question to you is, do you want to be made whole? We're here in church. Listen, I heard First Lady say last week, I don't want to go, I want to go to get. So when we come in, are we here to get or we just go to God? So the man lying 38 years, Jesus asked the question, and this is what the man says, Sir, I have no man. When the water's troubled, to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steppeth down before me. This tells me one thing about this man. He doesn't know who Jesus is. He's called him sir. Now, if you look at in scripture where people know who Jesus is, they know him as Jesus, teacher, or master. But he said, Sir, I have no man. See, the man caught up in his infirmity.
Right.
And he can't even see. Sometimes we can get so bogged down with what we're going through. We can't see anything else. We can't see what anybody else is going through. Because it's about me, y'all. It's about me. When I'm going through, it's about me. It's about me. He says, I have no man when the water's troubled to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another stepping down before me. This man made an excuse.
All right.
And if I'm not careful, and if we're not careful, we'll make an excuse. Won't you come on to church? Come on, you know the Lord called him. Why don't you come? I'm going to come. I got some things I got to get right first. Well, you know, y'all, I can watch church on TV. I don't have to go. It ain't that serious. It ain't that important. But he also shows his hopelessness.
All right.
When we want to be made whole, and everybody goes through this, whether we're at a point where we realize it or not, we all felt hopeless at one point in time. That's what brings us to Jesus. I remember the day I was looking in the mirror and I said, man, who is this person in the mirror? This ain't what I was raised to be, making decisions I know I shouldn't have been making, going places I knew I shouldn't have been going, being with people I knew I shouldn't have been with, doing stuff I knew I shouldn't have been doing. And I'm like, man, I don't even recognize myself. That's a scary place to be for me. I'm like, no. Certain people come around, I run and hide because I knew I wasn't doing right. No. I was in a hopeless state because I tried to do it myself. I tried to use my own strength. I tried to use what I thought was my own intelligence. I tried all of that. I tried to go to people and say, hey, what do you do? I tried to read self-help books. Be a better you in 30 days. I tried it and it didn't do it. And I got to the point where I had to throw my hands up. Has anybody been there? If you haven't been there, keep living. I had to throw my hands and say, Lord, I need your help. I'm needy. I need the Lord. And when you get to be whole, you got to get to that point. You got to know, I need help. I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right. Hallelujah.
Verse 8.
Thank you, Lord.
Now, you know, Jesus is omniscient. He knows all things. He does. And he walked at this time with power and authority. And he just said this one simple command. Rise. Take up thy bed and walk. Simple. Sometimes the easiest things to do can be the hardest things to do. If you in something that's deep and somebody know what you're going through and you say, well, all you have to do is, and it makes perfectly good sense, and you can't even do it. You that messed up. You can't even do it because you're like, you know, your mind just won't, it just won't grab a hold of it. Your spirit man all tied up on the inside and all full of mess and darkness and stuff. You just can't do it. Well, all you got to do is this. And if you're not careful, what you'll do is you'll keep bailing this person out and bailing this person out and bailing this person out. And they keep coming back with the same thing and the same thing and the same thing. I thank God for the young lady on your job, First Lady, because she came to you. Then she came more frequently. And then the Lord saved her. And that's, you know what, that's discipleship. That's discipleship. That's loving somebody. They keep coming and they receive it. And that's God. God will put people in our path, not just for us, but for them also. Not just for them, but for us. Now, I'm ministering to this person, but guess what? I'm being encouraged. Now, this man who has this infirmity, he's impotent. And we can look down on him and you weak, man. You 38 years and you in that same mess. Man, get out of here. You ain't about nothing. But I'm going to tell you something. He humbled himself enough to know that he needed help. Ooh, God, it takes some humility. But Jesus gave this command, easy command. Now, the man could have thought, what's wrong with him? I've been like this for 38 years. It ain't going to work. I'm not going to do it. You know, the enemy will talk to you too. The enemy will put things in your mind. The enemy will be whispering and will send naysayers by your way. You know what? I'm going for this promotion. I think I got a good chance. They don't want you. They don't want us. Nah, man, you ain't going to get it. Nah, I'm telling you, they already know who they want for the job. You ain't going to get it. Oh, man. and you get discouraged.
Right.
God done told you, I'm going to elevate you. I'm going to bless you on this job. I put you here for a reason. I open the door. And he says, nah. Somebody come along, no. Mm-mm. But verse 9 tells us, and immediately, you want to be made whole? It can happen immediately. Immediately.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
The man was made whole. And then what did he do? Now check this out. Now this really messed me up right here.
All right.
So in verse, what was that? Number 7, he said, "Sir, I have no man." So it's like, you don't know who Jesus is. So then this person, he doesn't know who it is that's talking to him. Oh, and by the way, let me point something out here. Why this man? There was a multitude
That's right.
of impotent people. Why this man? Why this man? Why me? Why you? I could think of people I grew up with. Ooh, doing the same stuff. Probably did worse stuff than they did. And the Lord saves me. Man. Now I ain't saying they ain't coming. I ain't saying that. Because see, I believe they coming. But he saved me out of that mess. And they can still be in that mess. It's like, why me? Don't you know God's grace is God's grace? He will save whom he will at the time he does. Now it's for everybody. But it's his grace. It's his grace. But verse 9 it says, and immediately the man was made whole. Now this is what blew my mind. He doesn't seem to know who Jesus is. But look what he does. He takes up his bed and walks. He was obedient to the master, to the teacher, to our Lord and Savior. Talk about being made whole. Yeah, know that you're in a state of hopelessness. Know what you're going through is not God's will for your life. Know what you're going through. You know it don't feel good. You know something ain't right. You know there's a better way. You know there's some hope out there. Jesus is the hope. But here's the thing. He's telling you to do something. And what we have to do is not second guess it and not think and say, and not use my worldly wisdom and say, well, but if I do this, they're going to say that. Well, if I do this, it's going to look crazy. Well, if I do this, I may not have this much income. Well, if I do this, if. No. I'm telling you, sometimes that's just the enemy talking to your mind. Have you not accept what God has got for you? Immediately, he obeyed the word of this person. You know what? I would consider myself a friend of Jesus. And I know those of you here that live for him, we do too. But you know what? Here's the thing. I want to be a friend and not a fan. See, if I don't do what he said for me to do, am I really being a friend? He's telling me thus and so according to his word. Am I really his friend? Or am I just a fan? Hey, it sounds good to me. All right, yeah, sound good, but what? Oh, be faithful? Oh, well, I don't know, Lord. I'm going to have to pray about that. No. When he tells me to do something, I want to do it because I want to be made whole. And it's for us immediately, right now, today. And took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. Now the thing is, he told the man to rise, take up his bed, and walk. And the man did it. Why did he take up his bed? Because when Jesus touches your life, he does not want you to go back to where you were. If he had left that bedroll there, he could have went, did his own thing, and he said, well, because that's what he knew. That's where he came from. If we're not careful, when God delivers us from a place, we can't go back there. We can't go back. Sometimes you're tempted. I understand you're tempted. But that's why we come to the house. That's why we come to Bible study. That's why we read the scripture. That's why we come to prayer. Because we need strength. We got to help build ourselves up. That's why we come here. We come to rub against each other. Rub on each other. So we can gain strength. Because you know what? It's tempting to go back out there. It's tempting. Peter said, I believe it was Peter, when you've been converted, strengthen thy brethren. Hey, we need to be strengthened. When we've been converted, we've been strengthened, when we've been built up, we got to build somebody else up. Elder Wilson, he had part A of this. When he said earlier, that's part A of the message. Yeah, we encourage each other. We got to build each other up. We're not in this thing alone. We're not. We're one for all and all for one. And verse 14. So, I've been made whole. Hallelujah. Thank you. Glory. I humble myself before you. I seen the need, God. You came down. You touched me, Lord. Ooh, thank you, Lord. Ooh, God, I came into church. I needed it. I came and got what I wanted. I came and got what I wanted. Thank you, Lord. Ooh, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. But afterward, Jesus finding him in the temple and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest the worst thing come unto thee. A hand touch is great. Coming to church and feeling good and leaving feeling good is great. But guess what? There's more to this walk. After we leave the service, there's more to this walk. There's more. Now God wants us to commit our life to Him. And what does that mean? That means coming and fellowship. That means reading on your own time. That means praying. That means speaking those things that the Word says. That means fellowshipping with people that are like-minded. And it doesn't mean you don't go witness and you don't share the goodness of the Lord. But I'm going to tell you, don't stay too long. Because if you stay too long, you'll be walking around like the impotent folk, the hawk folk. You'll be walking around like the crippled folk if you're not careful. But this is what God wants for us. He says, once I've told you to rise and take up your bed and walk, I don't want you to go back. I want you now to walk toward me. I want you to walk more into holiness. I want you to walk more into my righteousness. I want you to walk more into the fellowship. I want you to walk more into grace. Because don't you know, when you talk about grace, the grace flows to me, and it flows to Elder Jacobs, and then it flows to the elder, and to the elder, and to the elder, and it flows. Because see, what we say, it ministers grace to the hearer if we're saying the things that God is telling us to say. And see, I don't know about you, but I'm really encouraged on today, because now I know I've been made whole. And now here's the thing. Now when I'm feeling a little down in the area, guess what I do? I said, well, Lord, I got to acknowledge the Lord. First of all, I said, Lord, you know what? Now you didn't put me here for me to have to suffer like this. Something's going on. Then I have to take stock of my life. I said, you know what? Guess what? I ain't been praying like I should. I ain't been fasting like I should. I ain't been reading like I should. Because I'm telling you, when you step away from that, all the cares of the world, it's coming. It's there. It's there. It's there. It's there. But guess what? My question I leave with you is, will thou be made whole? But I'm going to answer for you. Yes, it's God's will for you today to be made whole. Pray my strength to the Lord.